Hello everybody, this is Youmna. If you're new around here, welcome to my channel. Today I am bringing to you my summer TBR as well as recommendations for summer. Of course, today I am filming on the least summer day ever. It is grim, it is grey, it is everything not summer. So if you're looking for some book recommendations that are set in summer or not necessarily, I suggest you stay with me. So let's get into this video. So the first book I wanted to show you was The Octopus and I by Ranell. She is an Australian author and her book is set in Tasmania. So you follow the story of Lucy, who has undergone a major surgery and who is trying to make peace with her new body. So she lives on the coast of the Tasman Peninsula. This is Ranell's debut novel. It was such an interesting read. So Lucy is trying to navigate her new body, and in order to do so she finds refuge in the sea and most particularly the octopuses. It is a very interesting novel written in the first person singular. I don't want to say too much because it is good to get into this kind of blindfolded. I loved the descriptions of Tasmania, of the ocean, the descriptions of her going to surf. So yeah. This is my first recommendation. The next one is a book you must have heard of before. It is not a new book. It is a novel by Sally Rooney, Normal People. Why would I choose this specific novel to read in the summer, even though it is set in Ireland, where it's basically never summer? I chose it because it is one of my favorite novels, one of my favorite comfort books. So you follow the story of Connell and Marianne, who become friends and then will have a love story, but this love story is not like others. So you follow them navigating around adult life, starting college and trying to find out what they want to do in life, what they want to become. It is a romance, but it is so much more than just the story of two lovers. It is a story of friendship. It is a story of being lost and finding oneself again, and how people around us help us become who we are. It is about what it is to become an adult in this very scary world, and yeah, this is a book I really recommend. And the last recommendation I have, which is not on my TBR, is The Hungry Tide by Amita Ghosh. We follow the story of Pia, an American scientist whose parents were born in India but who lived her whole life in America and doesn't feel Indian at all. She eventually moves from America to India and meets Kenai, who will help her with her study of dolphins. It is a story about going back to your roots. It is full of beautiful descriptions of the Sundarbans, but it is a very great novel. I loved it, and I want everyone to read it. Now moving on to my actual TBR for the summer, I have 5 books, but this is for 2 months. I'm not reading this only in July. This is for July and August. So the first book I chose for my actual TBR is called Ranell by Priya Hine. Priya Hine is a Mauritian writer who lived most of her life in Europe and started her career as a children's books illustrator and writer. This is her first novel. So the story is set in Ranell in Mauritius Island. It is a small village, also known as Africa Town because of the poverty that reigns here. You follow the life of Noemi, whose mother has always worked for a very wealthy white family that lives on the other side of the road. So one day Noemi finds out that she has to work for the Grandbooks too, and this is when her life turns around completely. This is a book I am very interested in because it deals with social inequality in Mauritius Island. It shows how colonialism and slavery have shaped the history of Mauritius, but it is also the story of Noemi and Priya Hine as well, because Priya Hine used her own life to write this book. So this novel is praised for its prose, beautiful prose, and I am very excited to read it. The second book I chose is a novel by French author Diati Diallo, which is called 2 Seconds of Burning Air. It is also a novel about social class and inequality. It is a political novel. It is quite dark. It deals with social reality, social classes, and I am very, very interested in reading this book. It is a very important voice, I believe, to understand what is currently happening in France. The novel starts with the killing of a young boy by a policeman. It is a very important novel that denounces racism, that denounces police violence. The novel was published in 2022, so 2 years ago, and almost exactly a year later, Nahel was killed by a policeman, and it just shows how real and important that novel is. And another book that also made its way to my summer TBR is My Name is Red by Orhan Pamuk, which is actually not set in summer at all. It is set in Istanbul during winter 1591. It is an epic novel. I really like reading epic novels during summer. I feel like it's the perfect time of year to read that. And yeah, I told you a little bit about it in my previous video, but it talks about the influence of Europe and of the Western world on the Ottoman Empire. This novel has contributed a lot to the reputation of Orhan Pamuk, and it is an author that I would really like to discover and read from. Okay, so moving on to a much lighter book, which is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I've heard a lot about this book on BookTube and BookTok. It is a story set in England, and you follow Emily Wilde, who is a very clever teacher in university who specializes in the study of fairies. I don't know too much about this book. I just know that it is a cozy fantasy book. I am quite excited to start this new genre. I haven't read anything like it before. It is a mixture between academia novel, romance novel, fantasy novel. It's just, yeah, I'm quite excited to read it. Of course, I haven't found it in English here, but I will read it for sure and tell you what I thought about this later. And the last book I chose for summer is Hermann Hesse Sidarta. Hermann Hesse was a German and Swiss poet who wrote a few philosophical pieces, and Siddhartha is one of his most famous novels. It is a very small novel, less than 200 pages, I believe. I would have never picked that up before, but a friend of mine recommended it to me. It is an author he really likes. The story is set between India and Nepal. You follow a man called Siddhartha who leaves his home and goes on a journey to find his spiritual self. It is a very eerie novel. Siddhartha actually means he who has found his meaning, or he who has found the meaning of his existence. So it is quite a philosophical piece, and by leaving his home he leaves everything he knows, his comfort, he starts fasting. So a very particular book I am quite interested in, and I will tell you about how I felt. Alright, so this is the end of the video. I hope you have found some new books to read, and don't forget to subscribe and comment down below what are some of the books that are on your TBR for summer, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!